Welcome to a new video. In today's video we are going to be making a zipline system. It's going to be very basic, it's very bare bones. You're going to have to want to design it however you want. Me rather, I just want the functionality to be there. You're going to have to design it however you want it to be. This is not looking pretty, but it is functional, and I am sure that you are able to design it and tweak it however you want it to be. So you can go in, you can press E when you are at it, and it's going to move you over from A to B. You can see that the alignment is off and everything. That is something that you are 100% able to fix, and I genuinely believe that if you followed a tutorial and got the exact result that you wanted to have in the end, then you are not learning anything. So I'm leaving these little things in. I am not bothered making it looking pretty or anything. So you can see that we went from A to B real nicely. If I also hold down S, it's going to slow me down. If I hold down W, it's going to speed me up. And of course I can jump off mid-flight. In order to make a new one, and just show that off real quickly, you can simply select your Zipline main actor over here. You can hold down Alt and duplicate it if you want, and do the same with a anchor, like so, and select the Zipline, select the eyedropper tool here, and select the anchor that it's supposed to be attached to. Do the same for the anchor. And now we have a new zipline. You can also change the speed from start to finish. How long is the zipline going to be? So let's do like 1 second. And you can change the eject velocity and the speed multiplier, which is the W and S, increase and slower. So this is going to take 1 second. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated. And yeah, let's just get started. Okay, let's try this again, because this is my 4th time doing this, because every time I get to about 70% done, the electricity keeps running out of my house. So every footage is unfortunately garbage, and I have to redo this. So we're gonna do it in checkpoints, and I'm gonna have to save and just make sure that everything is good. This should be no different for you, the viewer, though. But let's see how far we can go before I lose my power again. I have a very standard third-person template here. I've just made the map a little bit differently. This is our launch platform for our zipline. Let us just get started with the video. Hold down Control, select space, and right-click anywhere in your content drawer and select new folder. I'm gonna call it Zipline. I'm gonna right-click Zipline, set color, and that is it. Enter that folder, make a new folder. I'm going to call it interface, and I'm going to do the same thing again, new folder, call it systems. Inside of interface, I'm going to right click, select user interface, widget blueprint, and use a widget. It's going to be called WBP HUD. I'm going to do the same thing again, user interface with widget blueprint, use a widget, WBP interact. Now my HUD, I'm going to open it up and dock it, and I'm in the palette in the top left, I'm going to search for canvas. I'm going to add a canvas panel. I'm going to rename the canvas panel to HUD canvas, and I'm going to make it variable. I'm also going to go into the graph, add a new variable. It's going to be my player ref, and this is for me my third-person character. If you're using a first-person character or a custom character, it's not going to be third-person for you, but it is for me. And I'm going to set it to be editable and exposed on spawn. Now let's go into our third-person character for a second. After your begin play, you're gonna create widget, and that widget is our HUD. Now the player ref, we are inside of our player right now. Our player ref is then ourself. The return node, you're going to right click, promote to variable, call it HUD ref. This is so that we have a reference to our HUD in the future. Out of this return node, you can now add to viewport. Let's go into our zipline, into our interface, and into our interact. Our interact will have a border set from fill screen to the side on screen. Select your border, hit Ctrl C, hit Ctrl V to duplicate that border. Set the padding of the second border to 2 and the content to 2. That is going to change both of these to be 2. And then you can add a text into your second border. This text is going to be my text, incoming text. I'm going to change the text to be dummy text. Go into font, select the bold and change it to regular, and select expand outline and set it to 1. That is what I'm going to do. Select your first border, no, your second border, sorry. Select brush color. I'm going to make it like a lightish gray with an alpha of 0.1. The first border, select the brush color. I'm going to make it darker and of 0.1 on alpha. Head into your graph and head back into your designer. Select your dummy text, make it variable. Compile, select your graph, add a new variable. It's going to be our HUD ref. Type WBP HUD. Object, editable, exposed on spawn. Remove pre-construct, remove tick. Grab your incoming text, type in set text in one word, and then it's going to automatically give you the correct one. So set text, plug it into the construct, add a new variable. I'm going to call it my interact text. It's going to be of type text, and it's going to be editable and exposed on spawn. Compile, hold down Control to drag it out and plug it into the in text. So now we are going to go into our content drawer, head into your Ziplines folder, into systems. Inside of here, we're going to make a new folder. I'm going to call it Zipline System. Inside of Zipline System, I'm going to make a new folder, call it Blueprints. Inside of Blueprints, right click, Blueprint class, select an actor. I'm going to call it BP_Zipline. And do the same again. Select actor, BP_Zipline Anchor. Now we can go into the BP zipline, and in your components list hit add. I'm going to add a cube again. You can add a static mesh if you want. This is a static mesh as well, but it's a cube static mesh because we are using the defaults. Dragonstore Studios don't have the funds to get materials, okay, or static meshes. This is what we have to deal with, and I love it. Call this cube your zipline pole mesh. The scale of this is going to be 0.25, 0.25, and 3. I'm going to change my perspective to be left. You could also do front, back, or right. I'm just going to move this cube up so that it's linear or aligned to this red line at the bottom. Add a new component. This is going to be my cable. I'm going to call it my Zipline Cable. I'm going to move it 250 up so that it's not all the way at the top. And as you can see, the end location here is a bit off. We're going to set it to be 0. Now it's just hanging and dangling over there. Add a new component. This is going to be a spline. It's going to be my Zipline spline. Again, I'm going to move it 250 up. And here we have something else. You can remove this in 2 ways. First one, you can click here and then hit delete. Or you can simply select your spline and hit select last spline point. Hit delete. And finally, we're going to add a box collision, which is going to be my Zipline collision box. I'm going to scale it so that it fits everything nicely and a little bit of overhead, like so. So when we enter this collision box, let's handle that first. We're going to select our collision box, scroll down to the right here, and on component begin overlap. If a donkey overlaps this box, you don't want to be able to interact with it. You want it to be if your player overlaps this box. Nothing else. Not a donkey, not a pig. Yourself. If you, the player, overlaps this box, that is what you want to trigger it with. So other actor, you're going to cast that to your third person character. You're going to right click and promote that to a variable. This is going to be called my player ref. And we want to right click, enable input. Now here we need our player controller. So drag out, get player controller. And then we're going to get our player ref. And we want to get our HUD ref. And what do we want to do? Well, we want to get our F interact, which we don't have yet, because that was in the previous recording. Head into your WBP HUD and create a new function. It's going to be called F_interact. Interact is going to have an input of type text, which is going to be my interact text. Then we're going to create widget. Widget is going to be our interact. Interact text goes into like that. HUD ref is ourselves because we are inside of our HUD, right? And we want to right click the return node and promote to variable. Interact widget ref. We want to get our HUD canvas and add child to canvas. What is the child that we want to add? Well, it's the ref. This one that we just created. Can also go like that if you want. The child return node, drag out, set alignment. It's going to be 0.5 and 0.5. Drag out again, set anchors. Right click, split. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Drag out again, set size to content. Set that to be true, make it beautiful, then you can return. So now we have our interact function here. We can now go into our BP zipline, and out of our HUD ref here we can now call our interact like so. I want this interact text to be press E to zipline, and that is it for our on component begin overlap. On box overlap, enable input and call interact function, and show interact widget. This is if we are entering the box. Let's just test it's gonna work just fine. No, it's not, because we don't have any ziplines yet. Select your collision box, on component end overlap. Again, this is not a donkey, this is your third person character overlapping, or your player character. Get your player ref, get your HUD ref, get the interact widget ref, and remove from parent. Let's go into the map, drag out your zipline like so, and I'm just going to drive my anchor down to here. We haven't done anything to the anchor, but it's there. So we enter and we want to go over there. Okay, so let's go into our anchor for a second. In my anchor, I'm going to add a cube again. I'm going to call it my anchor mesh. Scale it down to maybe something like that. And add a new component as well, which is a box collision. It's going to be my anchor collision box. I'm going to make it a bit bigger. Like so. In the variables list, I'm going to add a new variable. It's going to be my zipline ref, which is going to be BP zipline. Editable, exposed on spawn. Boom. There we go. Now go into the map, you can see that we have that here. You can select your anchor, select the eyedropper tool, and select your zipline. Now our anchor has a reference to the zipline in question. Head into your BP zipline, into your construction script. Add a new variable. It's going to be my zipline anchor ref. It's going to be of type BP zipline anchor object reference. Editable, exposed on spawn, and now we can go into our map, select your zipline, eyedropper tool, and select the anchor. Back into your zipline construction script, get your spline out, add a spline point, Coordinate space is world. And the position you want it to be at, well, you want it to be at your Zipline Anchor ref. Get the actor location. And that is your position. Get your cable. Set attach end to. What do you want to set it to? Well, you want to set it to the Zipline Anchor. If I now go into the world, everything is placed. If I now move this anchor, you can see our spline is not updating. So select your Zipline, hit end button or whatever you want to update it with, and that is going to update it. Okay, so you enter the collision and it's going to tell you to press E to zipline. Okay, let's work on that. So head into your Zipline event graph. Comment this out. Remove interact widget. Right click, search for keyboard E for me. So when we press E, we want to check if we're already ziplining. So add a new variable. I'm going to call it B zipline question mark, which is a boolean. Hold down B to get a branch. Drag out your B zipline using control. And we're going to do false first. So if we are not ziplining, well, we want to set zipline to be true. Then we want to add a new variable, which is going to be previous position, which is a vector. We want to get our player ref. We want to get the actor location. I want to set the previous position to be the current position of the actor. Right click anywhere you want, custom event. Call it Zipline event. And after we set the previous position, get your Zipline event out. Our Zipline event, we're going to right click, add timeline. It's going to be my Zipline timeline. It's going to play from start. Double click your timeline, set the length of the track to be 1 second, add a new track, add a float track. I'm going to call it my Zipline float. Right click anywhere you want on the float, add a key, and do the same again. Select your first one, set the time to be 0, value to be 0. Second one, time to be 1, value to be 1. Back into your event graph. Make a new variable. It's going to be a vector again. It's going to be called current position. And you're going to steal the get actor location. And on the update, you're going to get set current position to be that position. Add a new variable. It's going to be velocity. You're going to get your current position, subtract the previous position, and you're going to divide it by the world delta. So get world delta seconds. And that is your new velocity. I'm going to plug it in like so. I'm going to explain a little bit of this when we comment this out after. Now you want to get your player reference. You want to set the actor location. What do we want to set the location to? Well, you want to right click and you want to do a lerp vector. You want to lerp from A to B. So A is going to be the start of the Zipline cable. So get your Zipline cable, get the world location. That is not the right one. Get the world location of your Zipline cable. That is your A. Your B is your anchor. So get your anchor, get the actor location, like so. The alpha is your float track of your timeline. And that is your position of the character. Once you have updated the actor location, you're going to set the previous position to be equal to the current position. And you might as well just do this now. Right click, custom event, call it stop timeline. I'm going to plug in stop. Now let us comment this out. Zipline event. we set our current position to the player's current location, then calculate velocity by taking current position, subtracting previous position, dividing it by the world delta seconds, which calculates position change since the last frame, giving us our velocity. Because when you are doing the timeline, we technically don't have any velocity at all. We don't have any speed. We're just moving from A to B without any speed. We're changing the X, Y, and Z coordinates of the player without using velocity. So we need a way to be able to see what velocity we have when we are about to eject, basically, from the zipline. So that is what we're doing with this. We are setting the current position to the actor's location. We're subtracting the current position from the previous position, which we are caching over here. We're dividing it by the world delta seconds, which is the time since the last frame, and that is going to give us our velocity. And then after we have set the location, then we're going to update the previous position, which is going to give us a new variable for the previous position on the next turnaround and the next turnaround and so on and so forth. Okay, so we walk in, we press E. Okay, let's walk in, press E. Boom, there we go. Let's go to our begin play for a second. On our begin play on our BP timeline, we're going to get our zipline timeline. We're going to set the play rate of that. Drag out from a new rate, divide it. So we're going to do 1 divided by a float that we're going to make now. So right click the bottom float, promote to a variable. It's going to be zipline time to finish. It's going to be editable and exposed on spawn. I'm just going to default this to be 1. The 1 here in the top, not the float, but this one, is the time of our float track that we created in our timeline. So if this was 5 to you, then you would do 5 over here. But we have 1 down there, so we're going to do 1 up here. So we're just going to comment that out. Set play rate of timeline. Our float track is 1 second long. So dividing this value by our custom float track float will give you the time to completion. Also setting, because we're going to do this in a second, also setting phase rotation between zipline and anchor. So that's what we're going to do now as well. Let's just expand this like so. And we're going to get actor location. I'm going to drag out from the return node, find look at rotation. And the target is our anchor. So get your anchor, get actor location. And that is going to be promoted to facing rotation. That is just going to give us our facing rotation from A to B. What is the rotator? Okay, so you press E and you are not on a zipline, so you go on the zipline. What if you are on the zipline? Then we're gonna call our stop timeline. We're gonna get our facing rotation. We're gonna get the forward vector. We're going to multiply our forward vector of our facing rotation with our zipline eject velocity. So make a new variable, call it zipline eject velocity. It's going to be a float. And I'm going to default that to be 500. I'm also going to make it editable and exposed on spawn. Drag it out, plug it into a multiplier. We're then going to add our velocity. Get our player ref, launch character, and plug it in like so. We're going to override X and Y and Z. We're going to set zipline to be false, and we're going to disable input. Get the player controller. So if we now eject, that went really fast because our time to finish, let's put it to 5 seconds. So it's going to take us 5 seconds from go from A to B. And if we eject, if we didn't have our eject, our launch character, then it would look like so. This is my calculation, how I figured out it would look the best. If you want to change it, you can do so over here. Eject velocity and everything. Let's go into our zipline. On our E, comment it out. Using our interact button, in this case E, we check whether or not we're already on the zipline. If we are not, we set our previous position variable to the current actor location and fire off our zipline event. If we are, we stop our timeline and launch the character. We use our previously stated facing direction, get the forward vector from that and multiply it by an arbitrary, I don't know if to type it like that, arbitrary number, and add that together with our velocity. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, let's add a way to speed up and slow down. So I'm going to do keyboard W to speed up. I'm going to check if we are on a zipline. If we are on a zipline, I'm going to hold down O and add a do once. I'm going to get my zipline timeline. I'm going to set the play rate. Drag out from the new rate, add a multiplier. So this is a speed up. I'm going to add a new variable. It's going to be my zipline speed multiplier. It's going to be editable and exposed on spawn, and I'm going to default it to 1.5. I'm going to get my zipline timeline again, get the play rate. So I'm going to get the play rate, multiply it by our speed multiplier. This is going to make us go faster. On released, I'm going to plug it in like so, and I'm going to set it to be divided by, so 1 divided by zipline's timeline start to finish. This should make us go faster, and also I'm going to plug it into reset on the do ones. Let's repeat this with keyboard S for me. I'm gonna copy the start here. So if we are on a timeline, do once again, reset down there, get your zipline timeline, and here I'm gonna do a division. So drag out, and I'm gonna do the get the play rate, and I'm gonna divide it by our speed multiplier. Comment it out, speed up, speed down, whatever you want. I don't know. If I now play, we can go up, go faster and slower. Okay, so that is our timeline. If you want it, want your player to face the place when you are ziplining, what you could do is on the false here, when you press E and you're not on a zipline, you can get your player ref and you can set actor rotation. And you want to set it to the facing rotation. like so. So if I now play, you can see that we are facing the other way, and you are now facing the correct way. Speed up, speed down. You can also, of course, have multiples of these. So let's just copy this one. Copy a anchor. I'm gonna move it down there. Select the zipline. Select your anchor as a ref. Same thing the other way around. And I just noticed that we forgot something, but let's just do this test first. So speed start to finish, let's do 2 seconds here. Actually, let's do 15 seconds here, because why not? And it's the quickest one, so it's this one. And we are currently going. Speed up, speed down. So on our anchors, you can see that we have a collision box. Why do we have a collision box, you may ask? Well, if you see here, if I'm now going down here, I am colliding with the ground and everything, because it wants to finish its time. It wants to finish its timeline. So head into your anchor, select your collision box, on begin overlap. Again, it's not a donkey. Cast to third person character. Get your zipline ref and stop timeline. So that is going to stop the timeline before you hit the collision or whatever. So that is our zipline system. I think it works great. You're gonna have to want to design it however you want and do some tweaks as you want it to be. But for me, this is a very basic zipline system. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, join the Discord. It's in the description of the video, or leave a comment down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye bye.